Alright, so here we go again, doing yet another race review. And before I just get straight into the video, your hat right here. This is actually a Kurt Busch hat. Just, there you go, Kurt Busch. It's mirrored right now, the way I'm doing this video, but it'll set itself right. But anyways, we're here to talk about Kansas. A very eventful race right at the end. You know, you can forget about the two previous stages and just talk about stage 3, because stage 3 was pretty much the good stuff of the race. But hey, I guess we have to talk about the first two stages, which, I mean, some stuff happened in between here and there, but I mean, not anything major happened in stage 1s and 2. I hardly even remember it because of I was asleep during that whole time. It wasn't because the race was boring. I was just thinking to myself, the race is gonna get a little bit better when the track cools down and all that. You know, because when the sun's down, it just makes everything pretty great, you know? But yeah, so Kevin Harvick, of course, started on pole for the Kansas race. I don't know what the sponsor was for this race. They had a new sponsor, which I don't remember, so you can tell me down in the comments below. But anyways, stage 1 was pretty much dominated by Ryan Blaney, Kyle Busch, Mark Truex Jr., Denny Hamlin. Those were the top running guys in stage 1, and Kyle Busch led practically maybe the whole stage. Yeah, this is not normal. I'm telling you, no. This is just not normal right here in 2020. Okay, dude? So, Kyle Busch wins stage 1, his first playoff point in like 100 years. Oh, God. When was the last time he actually won a stage before this race? I can't remember. I know he didn't win during the, when everything was normal. But, like, when was the last time he won a stage? I'm gonna have to look back at, like, every single race before the 2020 Daytona 500. But, yeah, and I also believe Brad Keselowski won stage 2, I believe. And there were little cautions in between here or there. There was, like, Bubba Wallace had a crash, would put him out early in the race. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. had an electrical fire in the race car, so, pretty bad luck. That's a big bummer by Ricky Stenhouse, you know. And he was actually, before Cole Custer and Austin Dillon decided, let's just win races all of a sudden, him and Bubba Wallace, ironically enough, were the drivers that were looking into making the playoffs. And now, you know, now they just got knocked down further, which is just crazy to me, honestly. It's really crazy to me how they were very close to making the playoffs, maybe on points, or being in contention to try to get the last few spots in the playoffs. You know? So now we have to talk about all the action that transpired in stage 3, because a lot of stuff happened. So, let's give you the rundown. So the carnage started when, I believe it was Chris Buescher, I'm trying to remember. I think it was Chris Buescher having a little minor spin. Then that transpired into a restart. And on that restart, Joey Logano blew a tire going to turn 2. Jimmie Johnson, so let me reverse that. Austin Dillon turns Jimmie Johnson, turns Matt DiBenedetto. Matt DiBenedetto goes hard into the wall. Pretty much ends his day. Jimmie Johnson ends his day too. He did not meet minimum speed. Austin Dillon still continued on because he didn't have that major damage to his number 3 American Ethanol Chevy. So, yeah, I mean, wow, tough pain for D Burrito. And, you know, actually during this whole race, I was actually really worried because, I was like, okay, if we get more upset race winners, that takes DiBenedetto out of contention, for the playoff spot. And you know me, I'm a D Burrito fan. I want him to make the playoffs. I don't know how long. I don't know if he can make it far into the playoffs, but hey, who knows? Which is why I'm actually going to talk a little bit about New Hampshire sort of next week, and all that. So, yeah. So then what transpired afterwards, another restart. This time around, Ryan Newman, Christopher Bell tangle with one another, which then spins out Ryan Preece. Ryan Preece takes a hard hit into the inside wall, almost flips over. He was in the air for like 4 or 5 seconds. Crazy wreck. The crazy wreck. Kansas has always been known for its crazy wreck. We had the Almirola crash back in 2017. Probably the craziest crash, the most violent crash I've probably seen. Maybe in NASCAR. I can't think of any other crashes. I mean, because a lot of these crashes are just violent, And Kansas has been victims to a lot of drivers. So, Almirola has been a victim. Erik Jones has been a victim. William Byron has been a victim. And now Ryan Preece is now a victim here as well. And he was more angry than hurt. Yeah, I mean, Ryan Preece has not been having that great of a season really so far. So, yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. Ryan Preece has a lot of talent. A lot of talent. If you were to watch the Xfinity series in 2017 and 2018 and the select starts he made for Joe Gibbs Racing, dude, he was on fire. Dude, well, not literally on fire, not like in his crash, but he was turning up the competition pretty good in that race, or in those races, which were the races he won were Iowa and Bristol, one in 2017 and one in 2018. So now, what then transpired afterwards? I like to use transpire a lot, apparently. What then happens is, I'm just trying to remember, because I do know that a little while afterwards, there was another restart that had William Byron, and Matt Kenseth. A few guys stayed out to take tires and all that, and all that stuff. And what sort of happened afterwards, it was then a race that turned into, was Brad Keselowski versus William Byron. Brad Keselowski passes William Byron one lap, and then a few laps later, William Byron then passes Brad Keselowski. Good racing all around. A little bit of some strategy, a little bit right here, and I was just thinking to myself, William Byron's about to get his first career win if this doesn't screw up. Then the NBC broadcast then said, I think they said that he is short on fuel, and then a caution came out. This was for Corey LaJoie and the Plan B Sales Ford, who unfortunately crashed into the wall. And to anyone who got the Shriner Systems car, good luck to you, or congrats to you on that giveaway. Yeah, if you didn't know, Plan B Sales had a little giveaway for a Corey LaJoie diecast. But anyways, getting back to the race. And actually, during that whole time, Ryan Blaney and Kyle Busch, the two guys that were dominant, or the dominant cars, throughout the first half of the race, blown tires, and there weren't cautions. And then this Corey LaJoie caution was a caution. Anyways, so what then transpired afterwards was a restart between William Byron and Alex Bowman. And I was thinking in this moment that, okay, this is exactly like freaking Texas last week. You have two Chevrolets in the front row, right? And then you got a bunch of experienced drivers in the back behind you. And I was just thinking to myself, William Byron is going to get passed around Alex Bowman, and he's probably going to drive off. And I was thinking to myself also, too, that the drivers behind were just going to waste their time trying to battle with one another, trying to get past one another, which is how I believe Austin Dillon kind of won at Texas, because, I mean, he had the best restarts out of the whole day. And I was just thinking to myself in that moment, but that didn't really happen. And then what happens was William Byron and Alex Bowman do battle against each other. And then there was another caution for John Hunter Nemechek in the Digital Ally, not to get confused with Ally Financial. Yeah, he had a little minor spin, and that was the final caution for the race, pretty much. And I think it's coming back to me, the caution that put William Byron in this position, in a really good position, and Keith Rodden, who was the crew chief for this race, because Chad Canals was on baby watch. So, yeah, Ryan Newman had a little spin, and had another spin on pit road. So, Spinny Newman this season. So, yeah. Anyways, getting back to the main point of this video. So, on the next restart, Kevin Harvick, Denny Hamlin, Brad Keselowski pretty much get in front of Alex Bowman and William Byron. They are out of the picture. They just, wow. I mean, I don't know how I would just, I don't really think you could, I just have to say it. You know, freaking Byron and Alex Bowman are really just inexperienced drivers, you know, at this point. And, hell, William Byron and Alex Bowman, they had a pretty good strategy going on right here, you know. Keith Rodden is known for making crazy strategies, especially for that win in the Brickyard not that many years ago, but it just wasn't meant to be, unfortunately. So, William Byron would have to wait for his first career win until, I don't know, maybe until they actually make a pretty good race car, or maybe they just do a crazy strategy. Because that's the only way William Byron is maybe going to just win a race in the 2020 season, honestly. So yeah, getting back to the last couple laps, Kevin Harvick was leading, but his car was very, very weak on the top side of the racetrack. Denny Hamlin passes him for the lead. Brad Keselowski passes Harvick for second, and now it's a race between Brad Keselowski and Denny Hamlin. And it looked like that Brad Keselowski was going to catch Denny Hamlin, but hey, I'll mention about the air package. Probably only the only one time I'll mention about the package. That big wall of air, you know, that big wall of air really upsetted the race car. So Brad Keselowski didn't win this race necessarily, and so Denny Hamlin won the race. So yeah, Denny Hamlin wins the Kansas race, the first Kansas race this season. So that was pretty much my overall race recap for this race. So what did I think of the race overall? You know, honestly, it was kind of a stinker throughout the first half of the race. And that was also just because I didn't get that much sleep last night. I tried drinking Monster this morning, but it didn't help. And I'm not sponsored by Monster anyway, so yeah, so oof. But yeah, pretty much pretty good race, honestly. There was a lot of good moments in there, a lot of great racing, a lot of action, you know. And it's actually something that I'm wishing NASCAR could do, and that is, you know, the one thing I think they need to take away from this race, and that is they need to start this race at night. Don't start it start it when it's sundown, or don't start it when it's almost sundown. Start it at nighttime. They do that for the Richmond races, but it doesn't really help Richmond at all. Richmond is just a terrible racetrack overall, but I don't know what else you want from me. That's honestly my honest opinions of the race, you know? And it was a good one. So hopefully you all enjoyed this video. We have one race review probably for the whole entire weekend. Trucks and Xfinity are coming up. No F1 and no IndyCar. So, those guys really need a rest. They only ran 5 or 3 races a season. So, yeah. Plus, hey, I need a little bit of a break of Lewis Hamilton not winning every single Sunday morning. So, thank you for watching. See you in the next one.